Thank you for being with us here today. My name is Julie Parker. I'm the Director of Media Relations for the Prince George's County Police Department. We are discussing our latest social media tool that we're going to use to connect with our community today. We've been actively using Facebook and Twitter for a long time. Reporters know this. This is our go-to to deliver our news. But now we're taking our social media strategy to a different level. And we're talking one-on-one with our community members, not the entire county at once, but rather going straight to a on the street sort of basis. So we're going to go directly to the folks who live on Metzeroth Road, to Route 301, to Livingston Road, to talk to them about what's happening in their communities. Deputy Chief Hank Stawinski is going to elaborate on why this is important for law enforcement, and to discuss why we felt it was important for us to be the first in the region to use this tool. And then Joseph Porcelli is with Nextdoor, and he's going to give you some more details on this if you're not familiar with how this social media tool works. So we'll begin with Deputy Chief Stawinski.
Well, good morning. As Julie's already stated, this department has been using social media to great effect for the last few years. And many might ask, well, this is just another social media outlet, isn't it? The answer to that, simply stated, is no. And the reason that we're very enthusiastic about this is because what Nextdoor allows us to do is speak directly to particular communities, where our other social media outlets allow us to speak to the county broadly and, frankly, the region. Nextdoor allows us to target messages to specific communities. In each of those communities, we have a community-oriented police officer. That's these young men and women over here. And their role in those communities is to solve problems, find out where issues rest, and work with other members of county government, other agencies, and the community to solve those problems. They need information to do that job effectively, and that information comes from the community. What Nextdoor allows the community to do is engage directly with these officers who are problem solvers. And the department acknowledges that people have busy lives. People don't always have the time to come to the community meetings that are at the district stations or in forums throughout the county. But Nextdoor allows you access to this department to communicate, to raise issues, and to communicate to your neighbors so that we can work together more effectively to prevent crime and to solve problems. And it's not just about crime. It's about missing people. It's about missing pets. It's about sponsoring opportunities for people to get together and exchange information in the community and build stronger relationships across neighborhoods. For all of these reasons, we're very enthusiastic about it. We've made a tremendous amount of progress over the last several years in this department in terms of reducing crime. And that's attributable to two things. The first is good crime-fighting strategy, but most importantly is the relationship that we've built with the community. And again, why we're enthusiastic about Nextdoor is our ability to communicate directly to specific neighborhoods. So if you sign up for this account, you'll be receiving information not from county generally, not from the region generally, but information that will matter to you in the neighborhood that you live in. So I appreciate the district commanders being here and supporting this, and I appreciate these young men and women taking this tool up in our continuing effort to communicate directly with the citizens of Prince George's County. I'm now going to step away and introduce Joe Porcelli, who's going to talk more about Nextdoor and the ability that it has for both the community and the department to communicate directly. So thank you. Joe?
Thank you, sir. If I can just hand this back to you. Thank you. So good morning. My name is Joseph Porcelli. I'm a senior city strategist with Nextdoor and also a Washington, D.C. resident. So it's a pleasure for me to be here in my community to announce this great partnership. Now, on behalf of the entire Nextdoor team, I want to thank Chief McGaw, Deputy Chief Stawinski, Julie Parker, and Christina Cotterman for championing Nextdoor across Prince George's County and making today's announcement possible. Now, Nextdoor is not totally new to Prince George's County. Over the last couple of years, neighbors have created over 82 Nextdoor neighborhood websites across the county, including Nextdoor Montpelier, Mayonne Reserve, and Nextdoor Fairwood, to talk about the things that are most important to each other in their community. And what neighbors appreciate about Nextdoor is before any neighbor can access their neighborhood's private Nextdoor website, they have to verify their address before they gain access. And with this added sense of security, neighbors feel comfortable talking about everyday things like finding a babysitter or a handyman or a plumber, or discussing more important things like a lost pet, or critical issues like communicating about a crime that occurred in the neighborhood or suspicious activity that they may have already reported to the police department. Now, at the same time, the Prince George's County Police Department was looking for progressive and innovative ways to keep the county safe. And starting today, as the deputy chief just said, the community-oriented policing service officers will be able to communicate with neighbors in their neighborhoods to inform them about things that are going on, to educate them about programs and resources that are available, and to activate them to do proactive problem solving and to take actions or change behaviors in their neighborhoods that will make their neighborhood safer and stronger. And with this launch, the Prince George's County Police Department is combining the power of technology and the power of neighbors who are connected and are communicating empowered to make the neighborhood safe. And again, I want to congratulate Chief McGaw, Deputy Chief Stawinski, and the entire police department for their progressive and innovative leadership. It says to us that they share our same value and commitment to recreating the sense of community in neighborhoods and leveraging the power of neighbors and technology to improve the safety across the county. Thank you.
You said that, I guess, other police departments around the country are sort of already working with you guys on this.
Yes.
How many of those are they, and how did that sort of develop, and how successful has it been?
Sure. So there are over 500 police departments that are using Nextdoor for public agencies, which is our government interface that these folks are beginning to use today. And there's a number of things that happen when police departments use Nextdoor. It promotes community building, so more neighbors know each other, and when neighbors know each other, they look out for each other. When police departments start using Nextdoor, more neighbors learn who their community officers are, and they build relationships. More information gets shared back and forth. The sense of safety and security increases when those relationships exist, but also people understand what's happening in their neighborhoods. They understand what resources are available to them, and they know what actions they need to take. So, for example, if there's an increase in theft from autos in a neighborhood, one of the officers may communicate and say, hey, we just wanted to give you a heads up that we've seen an increase in theft from autos in your neighborhood. We need you to do these 3 things, right? We need you to take your valuables out of your car. When possible, park under a light. And if you see someone walking down the street looking into car windows or wiggling door handles, you need to call 911 and let your neighbors know that you witnessed this experience. That combined effort really encompasses the community policing spirit and has the police department be able to work proactively and effectively with those neighbors.
And the department that approached you guys about getting involved with this, is that?
So actually, I believe Julie and I met at a conference about a year ago, and we've had a number of conversations, and the timing was right, and that's why we're here today.
How long did it take you guys to sort of realize that this was sort of another effective way, considering all the different social media activity you guys do?
Well, I'll let Julie answer this as well, but when she explained the concept to me, I was immediately enthusiastic about it because, and as you know, we've talked on a number of occasions, it's important that this community understands where we are in terms of crime, and crime is being reduced dramatically. But knowing that crime is being reduced dramatically doesn't lessen the impact of having your car broken into or stolen, your home broken into. Those are the things that really erode a community's confidence. And this tool allows us to communicate directly to those members of those neighborhoods, give them information in real time from these officers about what they should be looking for, making sure that because it's hot out, don't leave your windows open and accidentally leave the home for a quick errand. Those kind of fundamental tips that will make them safer. And it's focused on the things that will directly impact them as opposed to, and it's tremendously important to have that broad message and talk in general terms about where we are, but communicating directly with these young men and women and the community about things in real time that are going to impact them and make them safer, that's the real value here, and that's why I was immediately enthusiastic about it.
Just a little story. So I met Joseph at a conference about a year ago, and he pitched the idea, and I thought, we are already very engaged on social media. We have Instagram and Facebook and Vine and Twitter. How much more do we need to do? And we waited a while. He reached back out. It sort of seemed like one of those things that were too good to be true. It's too good to be true if you can communicate that easily one-on-one with people as compared to, say, Twitter, where you're blasting it out to the entire region. And once he explained more in detail for me how it worked, it seemed very obvious. Why wouldn't you be using this, especially for these cops officers who are working in and out of these communities, and knowing the people that they work with, now they can just send them a post from their couch at 10 o'clock at night and get out important information that way. It's just sort of where we are in 2015. It makes sense for us.
Is there any concern, I guess, about the fact that, if you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, that's seen by, thousands of people all over the county, that you're sort of narrowing your audience?
If there were a problem, let's say there's something going on in Laurel and we wanted Laurel hits multiple borders. If you wanted to blast that out to an entire region of Laurel, we could use Facebook and Twitter to do that. But if there are certain streets within Laurel, these cops officers will post to those particular streets, and that's the beauty of it.
Is this something interactive, or is it one-way communication?
Yeah, so if you compare it to Facebook, and I don't know if we're allowed to do that, but if you compare it to Facebook, because everyone can sort of relate to that, so the officer will post something, and then the citizen has the ability to thank them, which is sort of like liking it, or respond back, and they can have an ongoing conversation.
And I have a demo I can show you that you can get some footage of.
So technically, somebody in the community could let you know of an incident as well?
Yes, but if it's an emergency, we ask them not to post to social media, but rather call 911.
That's most important.
Yes, it is.
You want to show?
Yeah, sure. So I just want to piggyback off what Julie was just saying. If there's an incident in your neighborhood, you have to call 911. After you'd called 911 and informed the police department, you can go to Nextdoor and post it to your neighborhood to let people know something happened. We do have a great feature called Urgent Alert. So back to that example where I was talking about someone walking down the street and wiggling door handles and looking into cars. The first thing someone should do is call 911 and give a description of the behavior they're witnessing and the person and the location. After they've done that, they can go to Nextdoor and send an urgent alert, which goes out as a text message and shows up immediately on our app that will notify their neighbors in their neighborhood that someone is walking down the street, wiggling door handles and looking. What's important about that is that if, let's say I call 911 and I see something and someone's walking down the street here, walking, I guess that way. Bear with me. And they turn left to head up towards the other road. I only saw them go this way. But if a neighbor of mine got that urgent alert and maybe they were cooking dinner or watching TV and they go look outside and they see that someone that matches that description, they can call 911 too and say, hey, there's suspicious behavior. Sorry, let me start over. When a neighbor sees that urgent alert on their phone, they can stop whatever they're doing, cooking dinner, watching TV. They can go outside, and if they see the person that matches that description, they can call the police, call 911 with an update to say this person is now heading up on another road, which will give the police more updated information about the whereabouts of that person, and that can be very useful.
Is there a particular type of crime you think this is going to be most useful? I'm thinking thefts and burglaries in neighborhoods. Or...
So Nextdoor is used in over 40% of neighborhoods around the country and by over 500 police departments. It can be used for all different types of crimes, depending on kind of what's happening and where. There was actually an incident I heard from a member, unfortunately, who wasn't able to make it today. His name is Sean Beaver. He's from Montpelier and Laurel. He told a story of last October. There was someone that broke into a home in their neighborhood, and the person called 911 and then posted to Nextdoor, and all the neighbors were aware of this information and were looking out and were calling the department with updates, if I remember that correctly. And that's just a really great example. So something happening live, it empowers the neighbors to be a part of the solution and make sure the information that the police need get to them. Would you like to see a demo of what that looks like? Actually, before I go to the demo, I do want to point out here, so this is the Prince George's County Police Department's page on Nextdoor, and all posts from the county will show up on this page for folks to see. Now, Nextdoor is private to the neighbors that live in the neighborhood. So while you can see, this is the chief's introductory post this morning. So far, 35 people have already said thank you, and there are 3 replies. If you were a member of Nextdoor, you'd be able to see those replies in your neighborhood, but because this page is public, you can't see who those neighbors are and what those replies are. But this is an example of the type of post that they'll be posting on Nextdoor. So after introductions are made, I will show you what Nextdoor looks like to residents. So this is our Alta Hill, which is our demo site, and you can see here there was a post made by an imaginary lieutenant on our demo site talking about recent break-ins. So you can see there were 3 thank yous to this post, and there was a reply. So people can say, hey, thanks very much for the heads up, or could you give us some more detail about this? And a conversation can happen around this thread. So it is interactive. It is between the police department and the members. One thing that I will point out is every Nextdoor neighborhood remains private to the neighbors. The police department here cannot see who the neighbors are or what they're discussing.
And is it by a passcode to get in, or is
So
it your address?
if you join Nextdoor in your neighborhood, you would have to verify your address. And it's like signing into Facebook, you would sign into Nextdoor. But to verify your address, you could have a postcard sent to your home and you get a little digit that gets to your home. You add that digit, we know you live there. You could also verify by having our system call your home phone or your cell phone. And if your address matches your billing address, we'll let you in. There's a couple other ways, but those are the most common. And then you would have access to the neighborhood with your neighbors, and you guys could talk to each other. Now you will see, like pretend this is your neighborhood here. It's only you and your neighbors, but you can see posts from the police department. You can thank them, you can interact with them. You could even click on the lieutenant's name and send a private message if you didn't want to reply in front of all your neighbors. But this lieutenant and any user using Nextdoor for public agencies cannot see who you are, who your neighbors are, or any of these other discussions. Does that make sense? So the Nextdoor neighborhood remains private to the neighbors, but they can still post into, and neighbors can choose to interact with the posts from the police department.